Hey guys, it's Tiny Tom Logan back with another video for you, and today what we're going to be doing is taking a look at how to fit the Koolance MB ASR4E motherboard block. Now if you read those letters carefully, or quickly I should say, you could think it says something else, because every time I've seen it I thought it said something else as well. In case you're wondering, yes, I am in a good mood, and it's not coffee related. I've literally just had some music on for the last kind of hour. I've been dancing around the office, and I should really have got this done a lot sooner. But, taking a look, stock Rampage 4 Extreme. Obviously, I don't want to sound kind of like I'm talking down at you or anything, but the motherboard blocks are specific for that. You'd be amazed how many times I get questions where people go, oh, will those blocks fit my Rampage 3? Will they fit my Rampage 2? Will they fit my MSI Big Bang? No, they're just for the Rampage 4 Extreme. So, basically, once you get the blocks and stuff, they're all kind of wrapped up. I'd leave them in the wrapping until right at the last minute when you're going to fit them. Most important thing when you go to do something like this is read the instructions. Now these instructions are for about 5 different boards, but they basically what they do is they show you the basics of the stuff that you need to learn, so you still need to read them. But it has got something specific for the Rampage, which basically tells you to stick some thermal paste on one bit of the big block, and then there's 2 thermal pads for the top block. There isn't anything to replace this block here, because all this is doing on this side is actually a standoff, and it's just here for aesthetics. It's not actually touching anything. I don't know whether the lights are going to pick it up, but it's not actually touching anything. So what we're going to be doing is removing this part of the heatsink and this top bit, and it all will come off together by the looks of things anyway. But we'll be taking all this off, cleaning the areas up, and then refitting the new blocks. And it does come with the 2 thermal pads that you need, and the new screws that you're going to need, and the plastic washers to go on the back of the motherboard to help stop shorting. So really all you need, now I always have a selection of screwdrivers because I never know what I'm going to need, but for this I've got my handy micro screwdrivers, a little flathead screwdriver just in case we need that, and then also a Phillips screwdriver because there are Phillips screws on the back of this, again just in case you can't get it off with one of the baby ones. But it should be fairly simple. Motherboard blocks really aren't a big problem at all. So when we have a look around the back, basically there's 4 screws here, 2 here, 2 more up the side, and then 2 on the back. So pretty much, guys, what I would do, and this is why I love this tub, I'm going to stick all the screws in here, but you can whiz all these off straight away. So we make light work of this, and we'll just razz through it, because this video shouldn't really take too long, to be honest with you. I know a lot of you keep saying that I keep saying to be honest with you a lot, so maybe I need a new catchphrase. We need a Tiny Tom Logan catchphrase other than hey guys, because I do start to sound a bit like Sloth from the Goonies sometimes. Yeah, I'm in a good mood. Right, so we'll whiz through all of these. In case you're wondering why I'm in a good mood, later on, well, it won't be this week, maybe at the weekend or next week, I'll let you into what's happening. It's something in my personal life, but yeah, it's cheered me up a bit today. Anyway, so taking all of these off, you'll also notice on this one, there's a rather monstrous heatsink. And I say monstrous heatsink, but it's because it does have some thermal pads on it as well, and I've just stuck my finger through one of them. So let me do a quick repair job. There we go. There are some thermal pads on the back of this. Now I am going to try and refit this, and there are some longer screws, so you are meant to, so that's all good. So I'm going to be refitting this one, so you're going to need to be careful when you take yours off, that you need to keep hold of that one. But I believe that's all of the that's all of the back plates, so we don't need to do anything else with that. Right, now we're on this side, we know everything's undone. So first things first, before we start yanking on heat sinks, take the fan cable out. So your fan cable's free, you're not going to get any problems with that. Now this heatsink's already free. Sometimes with them they can get a bit stuck. I wouldn't go wedging any screwdrivers or anything like that. I'd literally give them lots of tiny little wiggles, and generally they will eventually kind of ease away and pull off. And then this one was all lovely and simple. So there we go. Essentially all we're going to be doing is putting thermal paste on the bit that touches this on the new block, and then putting thermal pads in place for these ones at the top. But this block is effectively redundant now, and as you can see with the block at the side, like I said, it doesn't actually touch anything. This is literally just really there for aesthetics. Yeah, it's going to add a little bit more cooling, but these heatsinks really don't get hot anyway. I've never understood why they put the fan on them, because I generally just turn them off. But we'll put that to the side. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch the camera off quickly, and I'm going to clean this chipset up. Basically what you need to do is just get some thermal compound cleaner, or TEM cleaner, whatever you would like to call it, on this. Give it a good clean. This does look like it's got a metal pad fitted over the top. Now I've seen a few of these, and that's becoming it's becoming quite normal. Don't worry about it. I know people that have picked these off, and you don't have to. But you can just give that a good clean, get that nice and ready for the new thermal paste. So what I'm going to do quickly is, like I said, clean this up, and then I'll cut the camera back in when we're ready to actually already start fitting water blocks to this little baby. Right then, so that took me a long time. Oh, hang on. Professionalism, clip your microphone back on, you noob. Ta-da, loud voice. Right, cleaned it all off, and I did pull thermal pad off of it. I did whip it off in the end. You don't have to, but this one wasn't really fitted very well, so I whizzed it off. So we've cleaned that all up. That's all spangly lovely. That's ready to go. So really now's the kind of time where we can start thinking about getting these blocks out. The reason why I don't get them out is because where they're nickel plated, you end up covering them with fingerprints, basically, and I do mean covering them. Now thermal paste wise, I don't generally put a lot on the chipsets because they don't really need it. Now I'm just kicking all the screws out slightly off the camera here. I'll put them on this side. What I tend to do is, just as a little trick, I'm doing it down here, you can keep an eye, as I'm just getting the screws and I'm putting the washers on them ready. Now the washers are for the back anyway, and if they're ready, you've not really got to mess about when you're actually coming around to fit it all. So I'm just going to put the ones on now that I need to for the main heatsink, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so we'll do all of those. And then the two other ones are the big ones at the top with the longer section that goes through them. I should really have done all this off the camera, but you'll all be moaning at me that the video's not long enough if I don't do stuff. Take a while to do stuff, I should say. So anyway, we've got what looks like a spare screw, which is quite nice. We obviously don't need any washers for the top one because they're not going to be coming into contact with the actual motherboard itself. So we've got a spare screw, so I'll stick that up there ready. Thermal pasteo. Generally, now you're all going to ask me why I'm using this thermal paste. It's because I've not got any other thermal paste left at the moment. You don't really need a massive amount. You can, as long as you kind of dab it around a bit, when it goes on there, it's going to be alright. It'll squidge itself all out. You can pretty much make the worst job in the world, which is pretty much what I seem to be doing. A reasonable trick that you can do if you want to, you can use a bit of the plastic just to kind of spread it around a bit so you don't use your finger. Obviously, there we go, that's a much better bit of thermal paste there. When you put the water block on it, it's going to fit, it's going to spread it out a bit anyway. And something you can do if you're a little bit worried is just put a little tiny bit extra in the middle, and that'll all spread out. So it's really nothing to worry too much about. Now, with the water block, we know it needs to be going around this way. So let me line the screws up. So it's going to be going about there. So what I would do, if you're worried, you can get some like a friend to help you or something. But I've been doing these for a few years now. It's not I'm not saying this is the right way. I'm just trying to do it the best that I can on the camera, because I'd normally have this in my hand and do it all between two hands. Obviously that's not kind of possible with you on camera, so this isn't the way I would do it normally, but like I said, I'm just trying to do it so you can actually watch me doing it. I'll tilt the camera down for you a little bit just so you can see. Like I said, I'm just trying to do this so that you can watch it on the camera. So I've put a screw through basically, and then what I do is just line that screw up with the screw that's underneath. Put a couple of threads in, you don't need to do it right up, and then you can lay it down. Move the board like that. Now again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the screw underneath. Try and get this little baby caught, which she has done. Lovely jubbly. Right, so now it's what we would call as good as on there. So we can take our hand, put the hand and support the heatsink, turn it over. Once you've got it back on the box, it will hold it into place, and then you can get your screws ready. Put them all in. Oh, that one's come out. There we go. So now we can start to do these up. What I would do is I'd do them just up so that they're like not even finger tight, just so that you can feel them getting a bit tight, and do all of them this way first. Right, and then you can go around, give them a little nip. Make sure they're all in place. Now the heatsink, water block, whatever you would like to call it, they have got standoffs, so they shouldn't cause the board to warp. Because sometimes with the old school blocks, if you did them up too tight, the motherboard could end up looking like a Pringle. This all looks like it's all contacted lovely. It's all sat on there. It's where we want everything. So that is the first part done. So that's the first bit of the block done. Now we need to get the second block out. Now with this block, it has some thermal pads that needs to be fitted, and they're two very blatant different types. The thicker one goes on the top section, the thinner one goes on the bottom section. Doesn't matter which way round these thermal pads go. I hope I'm not teaching you to suck on lemons, but like I said, I do seem to get a lot of questions. Sometimes I'm just like, look, if you need to ask questions like that, you shouldn't be building a water-cooled rig. And then other times I feel a bit simple, feel a bit sorry for you, and think to myself, well, I was there one day, and you never really know. Although, a lot of the times, nowadays, with the questions I get asked, if the people actually took 5 minutes to think about the question that they've asked, 9 times out of 10 they'd end up answering their own question. Or if they did a little tiny bit of research. Like I keep getting asked if an EATX case, EATX motherboard will fit in a certain case. Well, not being funny, you can look at pictures and see how much extra room that you've got, and be able to work out if you can fit an EATX board in a certain case. The 600T doesn't technically support EATX, but I've made videos of it fitting, or with it fitting. So it's all just about having a quick look and basically using your common sense. I know I do sound like a parent, but it was the way I was brought up. Right, so those two are on there. Essentially now what we have to do is give these a little bit of a, there we go. So what we do again is hold the block, turn it over, and now I know what the extra screw was for. There's two screw holes on the back here. One of them wasn't used on the original, but that's what the extra screw is for on this. So very clever. So you use the two longer screws on the back of this heatsink, and then the spare screw, which I thought was a spare, actually goes here. And there was no mention of that in the manual, so it's definitely a use your common sense water block. So we'll nip this one up quickly. Right, and then we'll get this one, spin the old girl round, bit of a nip. Right, bit of a nip, bit of a nip. There we go. And that, my dear fellows, is what they would call it. I'm sorry if I didn't keep the camera in view there, but that is it. Let me grab hold this board so you can actually see. So, one Rampage 4 Extreme. One Rampage 4 Extreme with the Koolance MB-ASR4E. Now, again, look at that naming. I can't help but thinking it sounds... I'm not going to say it. But anyway, it gives the board a nice clean look. As you can see, that the in and the out for the chipset, obviously it goes in and around, keeps all of this clear of the graphics cards. So when your graphics cards go over the top, it's none of the old days of having to have loops coming out or trying to get hose into motherboard blocks and that kind of stuff. It's kind of kept out of the way. It's around the CPU area. So pretty much all of this, we're going to have hose all kind of quite tight in around this area. It's going to be quite a mission for me to get this done. And then we also need to get hose to come down towards the graphics cards as well, because I'm going to have a graphics card in the first slot and a graphics card in the third slot. But there we go, nice and simple, quick video. Rampage 4 Extreme, now ready for water cooling. The next video along the line will be the 7970s, how to fit a water block to the 7970s. I'm going to put the link underneath. Specialtech have now put kind of like a pack together to, it's all the bits that we're going to be using in this build. So apart from the motherboard water block and the graphics card water blocks, because otherwise you might not have the same kit, but the pump, the reservoir, the radiators, yeah, and I think the fittings as well. Basically you can go on there now and look for the CKC kit, so you can get this stuff. And then obviously if you've got a Rampage 4, you can use that. If you've got 680s or something, you can pick your different water blocks to go with it. But the basic kit with the pump, reservoir and the radiators is all kind of there for you to just go in and grab. Now the coolant stuff is really well made. It's not to be confused with some of the cheaper end kit. So don't think it's going to be for a budget. But then again, not being funny guys, if you've spent the money to buy a Cosmos 2, you're not really going to be wanting to skimp on water blocks when you can get something as good looking as this. And I think when I finish with this rig and you see how it's all going to kind of really nicely tie in together and just basically work, I think you're going to love it. But anyway, that's it for this video guys. I'm going to go and make myself one of my special herbal teas, and I may even just rustle up the 7970 video, which I'll update at a later date because I'm on a bit of a roll tonight, but it's time for the music to go back on. This is Tiny Tom Logan with another video for you. Out.